And we're going to head across to Tobago because we're talking about the National Steelband Heroes Hall of Fame Foundation. We have that interview ready to go. Mr. Reginald Vidale is online with us. He's the chair of the National Steelband Heroes Hall of Fame Foundation. Good morning to you, Mr. Vidale.
Good morning to you and greetings.
How are you doing this morning?
All the better for seeing you, I guess.
Well, unfortunately, I can't see you yet to do a phone, so I'm happy that you're able to still join us, though. But tell us about the National Steelband Heroes Hall of Fame Foundation. Like, when was it started and why was it started?
It was started in 2020, after the pandemic, as it were. The genesis of it actually was out of suggestions I made many, many years ago that there should be a Hall of Fame foundation to honor the unsung heroes of the steel band movement, which certainly has not been done. So this is a first in Trinidad where a foundation is being set up to honor those steel band heroes of the past. And that is basically the genesis of it.
How are they going to be honored?
It's going to take place at the Central Bank Auditorium on Independence afternoon,
Right.
at 5 o'clock, where we are going to be inducting into the Hall of Fame 18 of those heroes that I spoke about, and also they would receive an award. Some are posthumous, and some are for those who are still alive.
And what is the qualification to be celebrated as an unsung hero? Because an unsung hero means somebody we may not have heard about necessarily, or somebody who hasn't been celebrated before. Yes.
Well, who has never been celebrated before and who has made an immense contribution to the development and the untoward development of the steel band movement. Many of those who have come from very, how should I put it, subculture areas, who beat the pan and sung the pan and did so many things, and saw the development of the steel band movement, and who up to today have not been mentioned, haven't been thought about, and who have not been honored in any particular way.
Okay. And are there any bodies that you guys are working with in order to present this or to celebrate these unsung heroes? Like the ministry?
We are doing it. It's the foundation. It's not connected or interconnected with any other body. It's solely independent. And we are doing this because we feel it is important. Mm-hmm. It is Independence Day, Independence Afternoon. And we feel that it's a fitting tribute to our nation and to those who have contributed in many ways, and more in particular in the area of the pan development and the pan movement.
Mm-hmm. And is there a time period for this first set of inductees? Are we saying that you're going to go with people from a particular time period, or is it across the board?
We have sought as far as we could have in our research. It goes back, and there are some who are, well, not present, but, you know, as way back as, let's say, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And these people are going to be honored. I could perhaps call one or two names. You'll have, like, Junior Pouchette. You'll have Vernon Manet and a few others. Carlton Maifan, who was an Ironman with Starlist for many, many years. Carlton Drayton. So there are a number of heroes, I call them, unsung heroes of the past, who would be inducted into the Hall of Fame and then given an award.
And
so that at the end of the day, we would want to have established a Hall of Fame foundation, which would be a continuous, sustainable honor for these unsung heroes. And I keep calling them unsung heroes because you're hearing of so many who are in the front line now, who are being honored, if not by the university, are not even thought of because sufficient research was not gone into to establish them as participants of the development of the Steelband movement. Of course, as I would say, the longest distance begins with the first step, and it started with them. It didn't end it with those who have received doctorates. Those who have received doctorates are basically piggybacking on the backs of those who have not been thought of or even honored or even remembered in any particular way.
And that tends to happen across the board, you know, where people put in a lot of work and your great-grandchildren may be able to benefit from it in ways that you would not even be given that level of gratitude for. So I applaud your initiative, but I can't help but think that there will be some challenges and you might still end up leaving out some people because some of these, like you said, they're unsung heroes. So if the people with all the information would have passed on already and you mightn't be able to get enough information about somebody to know what they actually contributed, how do you mitigate some of those challenges?
The thing about it, as I said, you know, the longest distance begins with the first step, and it starts on Independence afternoon. And I would want to see continue for the ensuing years on Independence Day. Now, mind you, it brings to a climax also Pan Month.
Right.
And I think it's a fitting climax to Pan Month to have this induction and award ceremony. Mm-hmm. And it is, God's willing, would continue year after year so that those who have not been selected to be inducted this year, most certainly they would be inducted next year and the years to follow.
This is a fantastic initiative, Mr. Vidale. Can people attend? Can the public attend on Independence Day, or is it by invitation only?
It's by invitation only on this first occasion. And, okay. Of course, as it grows, then, of course, it would be a wider invitee, you know, who would be there. But for this first initiative, first inaugural induction awards, it's going to be limited to invitation. And then, of course, there's a budgetary factor in terms of when you invite in more than, you know. So everything has to be kept tight because we do have a very limited budget, as it were.
Of course.
So that...
but tell me something,
sorry?
Mr. Vidale. Sure. Will I be able to access this information or the information about the inductees after the ceremony? And where can I do that?
Well, not a problem. The number that you have called me from, you can call me and I can arrange to let you have copies of it. Certainly, why not?
No, but I mean for the general public, not just me in this position, but the general public. Will they be able to access this information about these heroes?
Well, what is going to happen? Why we do not have a home as yet to house the inductees with their various plaques. They would be given a scroll certificate, as it were, which would indicate that they have been inducted into the Hall of Fame 2022. Now, we have asked the Ministry of Culture to think about and consider allowing us to use the museum on South Key, where the plaques of the recipients or the inductees would be placed for public viewing on a continuous basis. And of course, you know, people who would be coming to the country, call them tourists from where they would be coming from, can visit that museum and see plaques to the memory. And you might see, like, for instance, pan sticks, or a pan, or an iron, or something that relates to what that particular inductee did in terms of the development of the Steelband movement.
Mr. Vidale,
we are hoping that the ministry would consider our request and grant us the use of that museum on South Key so that we can house the Hall of Fame, as it were.
I understand what you're going for there, but can I suggest that, as we in 2022, maybe we can look at a version of it for online as well, so that, without people being able to actually go in a physical space, maybe they can go in a virtual space and check out some of the information, some of the same pictures, maybe some old videos as well. What do you think?
Well, I would want to say to you, having said that, I would want to invite you here and now as the first person who I would call upon to see and try to have that implemented simultaneously with the induction ceremony on Independence Afternoon. So I would look forward to having you as the first technological inductee into the Hall of Fame.
I set myself up there, no problem. I understand. All right. We'll talk some more after the show. But thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on this. I think it's a fantastic step. Like you said, every journey begins with a small step, and this step is definitely a great one. So thank you very much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing the show on Independence Day and all the heroes that we're going to be putting into the Hall of Fame.
As I close, can I invite you to join me on Independence Afternoon at the Central Bank to witness the inaugural induction and awards ceremony?
Yeah, man.
So you are invited, and specially invited, to be there on Independence Afternoon. So while you'll be celebrating independence, you'll be celebrating the inaugural event of the first Steelband Heroes Hall of Fame Foundation. I close. I thank you for having me this early morning. I saw you having a cup of something.
Coffee. The only way to get through this morning.
I can imagine. So have a good week ahead.
All right, you too.
And thank you so much. All the
No
best.
problem. Take care. That's Mr. Reginald Vidale, the chair of the National Steelband Heroes Hall of Fame Foundation, letting us know about their first induction ceremony that's happening on Independence Day 2022, where they're going to be inducting 18 Steelpan heroes, unsung Steelpan heroes, into a Hall of Fame. I think it's definitely long overdue, and we definitely, any opportunity to celebrate our Steelpan heroes, the foundation of this thing that we call our national instrument, we appreciate it. I appreciate it. How do you feel about it, Kimberly?
I think it's good. I think it's timely as well, because I remember we had that representative from Pantrinbago a few weeks ago when we were celebrating World Steelpan Day, and she was saying that, they've been pushing for the steelpan to be proclaimed as a national instrument. You know what I mean? So I think it's so timely that we are honoring those people, and we also have a movement that's going forward to have the steelpan as a national instrument. So I think a lot of amazing things can happen this year. I hope that whoever's in charge of that can make it happen, and we can end 2022 on a high note.
It was proclaimed by former Prime Minister Patrick Manning on our 30th independence anniversary. He proclaimed the steelpan to be the national instrument, but I don't think it's in policy.
Exactly.
And
so
I think
it's
that's
not really,
that's the part that we want to get the written.
Because she was saying that she wants the actual document stating as such. You know what I mean? So I know that moving into the 60th anniversary, 60 years. So I know that they're pushing for that specifically. So hopefully we can see that document where it is stated clearly that pan is the national instrument of the country.
And in the meantime, we're here to celebrate the pan same way. You know what I mean? We're celebrating 60, we're celebrating independence coming up very, very shortly. I think these celebrations more or less have started across the country.
Of course. Our anniversary is coming up as well, TTT.
Well, naturally, because independence is TTT.
You know what I mean?
TTT is Trinidad and Tobago Television.
You have to see what's going to be in store for everybody else. So we're looking forward to that as well.
All right, so we'll take a quick break and we come back with more. When we come back, we chat with the TTPS about your safety, my safety, our public safety. Stay tuned.